Yeah?
Yeah.
My number one then is Charlie Murder on the Xbox 360. It's the second Summer of Xbox Live arcade game. It's out next Wednesday, so Brothers was the first one and Charlie Murder is the second one. Have you heard about it?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I think I know. I think as soon as you start talking about it, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, it's from Scar Studios, who made like Dishwasher, Dead Samurai, and I made a game with zombies in it, which is, I think it's either the most highly rated or the best-selling XBLIG game, or one of anyway. Did phenomenally well. It's a little bit of Borderlands, it's a little bit of Castle Crashers, and it's a bit of Scott Pilgrim, the beat 'em up.
Yeah.
It's a game that started very, very quietly. I played it on co-op, and as it started, it was kind of like, I've been here before, I've done this, I'm not really feeling it. But over the course of the first 2 or 3 hours, it really, really started to take hold, and primarily that was I played it with Zeno. Every few minutes, every few seconds at certain points, that's cool, that's really cool, that's so cool, there are so many cool things in it. Well, basically, he plays a punk rock band called Charlie Murder, and they're in the midst of all this infighting with a death metal band.
Okay, I like that.
The death metal band kill them, and there's also a zombie apocalypse going on. It's a really anarchic game, not just in the plot, which is a little bit mental, but the way the game just constantly shifts what it is. It's at 1 minute you're whitewater rafting down the side of this mountain, and then there's a driving bit, and then there's a rhythm action bit where you're playing with the band. If I was to show you one level and then show you another, you'd think they were two different games. The art style doesn't change, but the colours are so different. Everything, the pace of play is different. It feels truly anarchic, but basically it's a sort of side-scrolling, kind of like a beat 'em up. It is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but there's elements of there's loot drops in it, and there's leveling up systems and stuff. Basically, there's loot all over the place, and it comes in the form of trinkets and jewellery and rock-style clothes that you can put on. They've all got attributes and stats. Some of them have cooldown perks, and some of them have better defence and stuff like that. So the longer you play it, like with Borderlands, after a couple of hours, you spend almost as much time playing it as you do tinkering around with the stuff that you've got.
Right.
Combat is great. You've each got special moves. You can pick from one of 4 members of the band, and the special moves all have stuff to do with your instruments. So I was always the big fat guy, and you just run up and just play a load of drums, and then really cool. Later on, you collect runes, and they can be sort of magic powers and stuff like that. But the ideas in it are just great. You get magical powers, and you upgrade yourself by getting tattoos. To get really, really advanced health power-ups, you pick up stuff like hops and barley, and then you periodically happen upon this brewery, and you brew your own beer.
Right.
Like Grand Theft Auto 4, though, everything is done on your phone. So there's a mock-up of a social media site, and there's email, and all of your sort of when you level up, when you get new stuff, new moves and stuff, it all comes in the social media, and then you get more followers, and then you level up quicker and stuff like that. There's also QR codes all over the place, and you can use your camera like a camera phone. You see one, you take a snap, and you unlock something different. It's just non-stop. You're like, wow, cool, fucking cool. And the game is really, really fun to play. It will work with one person, obviously, but it's made for 4 player. Like no game. It's one of the most perfect co-op games I've played in a really long time. There are some problems with it. It's not. It kind of feels. It's 800 Microsoft points, and it's worth every penny, but it's not quite as sophisticated as we've come to expect Xbox Live Arcade games to be. So, for example, the co-op is not drop in and drop out. Once you have to all be in at the beginning, or you can't jump in midway through. If you have any technical issues, or we had an internet issue halfway through a game, you have to all go back to the beginning and re-sign up again. It saves it.
Right.
But yeah, it's just a little bit of a strange thing. It feels like a slightly outdated. There is also periodically, not all the way through, some of the checkpointing is really brutal, and I have a feeling that they might patch it, because there are segments of it where you can play for in excess of 30 minutes, really tough rooms, endlessly reviving each other and using all your shit. If you die, you have to do it all again, and it's like, so it's brutally difficult. I think it scales, so if there was 4 of you, it would still be as difficult as it is. But yeah, that seems like I think it feels like a mistake in certain places, because there were times where we would be playing for ages, die, and then just like, I can't believe we're being asked to do all of that again. And there's also a couple of issues where the screen doesn't scroll very fast. So if you're moving around quite quickly, you can actually walk off screen and die, and you can't. It's a tiny thing, but when there's sort of 3 or 4 of you in the heat of combat, it can be quite jarring. It's a really, really terrific game. It's a two-person, I should say. Studio. It's one guy and his wife, and on that score, it's 10 times as impressive. But even if you didn't know that, if you're looking for a 4-player co-op game, this is an absolutely superb one. If you're waiting for like the big, once the big games start coming out and stuff, this is a really great. I mean, funny as well, genuinely funny. There are similarities between Scott Pilgrim, the comic, and the movie. Which I won't go into because it's to do with the story. It does have some of those wanky rock cliches like demons and fire and stuff, but there's also a mini game where you smash up a hotel room, and like I said, you level up by getting tattoos. It's just smart stuff and really entertaining, and really liked it a heck of a lot.